My name is Abdullah Maher Al Jarjawi, a second year nursing student, and my story is as following. Life was normal. Everything was fine. And just like any Middle Eastern kid, I used to go to school, and when I turned home, I would throw my backpack and never see it. Play hide and seek, you could say. And never see it until the following day. That's if I had school. You may wonder what I used to do when I'm not at school. Well, I used to wrestle with the boys, have fun, sometimes fight. I'm sorry, it happens, you know. But my neighbors have a lot of stories to tell about me. I'm sorry. But other than this, I used to play ping pong, swim, have fun. Just a normal childhood, I have to say. So life was normal until 2008. I was 6 years old. And I remember the sound of the bombs echoed through the streets as the electricity went out, drowning us in the darkness. We used candles to light up our room as we all sit next to my mom, and she hugged us tight and read the Quran. I remember my dad disappearing, and I was too young to know what's going on. And every time I asked my mom about him, she would say, "May God protect him." You see, to give you a perspective on how it feels to live in a war, I would love to share a story of a friend of mine who was in his house when it got bombed. His name was Jamal. He described to me how the missile went through several walls, exploded, and pushed all the air outward, shattering the glass. And within a moment, the house became a vacuum. And the air rushed back in, collapsing everything inward. And at that very moment, the explosion then threw everything outward. As time slowed down, allowing him to describe every detail of it. I remember that my soul was sucked out of me as he described his experience. First, our eyes stared at each other. Then our souls collapsed into each other's, and I felt his pain. It was no longer a casual bond between two 12-year-olds. It felt real. And there is something that he told me that I will never forget. He said, "You know, Abdullah, before the explosion, it was very quiet, as if there is no sound to the missile. Now imagine the terror of living in a place where the missiles scream through the air faster than the speed of sound. So when you hear the missile, you feel a twisted comfort. What a reality. Which means when it was silent, you never know if it was your last moments." You know, people go through wars and suffer from a lot of trauma, and we can't just get over it. And such a traumatic experience can scar people for lives. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky enough to say that most of my wounds are healed, but not that many people get to say that. So out of respect for all the people who've lost their lives, the innocent kids who've lost their lives in the Gaza Strip, Syria, and Iraq, I would love to ask you to pause for a moment for solidarity and appreciate everything they went through. Thank you. See, my story doesn't end here. After I left the Gaza Strip, I came to America, and it was a very, very long story, but for the convenience of the event and the timing, we're gonna skip. It took us 3 years. We got to America, and I was like, all right, we skipped the war, there is nothing to worry about, right? She knows. No, I was wrong. I was very, very, very wrong. I faced new challenges in America, whether it's the language barrier, racism, discrimination, I don't know, losing 2 academic years, becoming low income. There was a lot going on. And even though I was not in an active war zone, but in my head, it felt like one. Now, imagine how sad it is to see all your dreams shattered before your eyes because you cannot speak English? That was my reality. And funny enough, my English was so bad when I first came that I needed to practice numbers. I was just counting, and I got wrong, and I count again, then I got wrong, and I count again. It took me like maybe a week or two, but I figured it out, you know. But it was really sad, and I didn't know what to do, but I was determined. You see, I'm the son of the Gaza Strip, and I was very, very determined. Go for it. Fix it? Yes. It's gonna take 1 second. All right, thank you. See, I'm the son of the Gaza Strip, and giving up is not in my dictionary. So what I did was search for opportunities, ask for help, learn English, and look for the positive side. And trust me, it wasn't easy. There were nights when I wonder if there will ever be a sunrise in my life. It was very dark. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and every time I've made a mistake, I would learn from it and grow. But one of my biggest mistakes was accepting a job as a janitor for $4 an hour because I needed to. And just around that time, and when life seemed to be the darkest it could ever be, the sun had finally rose. It took 3 years. It was the moment I received an acceptance letter from UVA with a full ride scholarship. You see, when I first came to America, I felt like a Rubik's Cube. That was not supposed to be a joke, but sure. It was supposed to be a joke, but I was joking with you all. Anyway, so I felt like a Rubik's Cube, all mixed up and confused, but with the help of great mentors and organizations, I was able to solve the problem. And without their help, I would not be here, I would not be who I am, I would not have got the full ride, so I'm forever grateful for them. And I have much respect for them. You know, they had a lot of dedication to help immigrants just like me reach their full potential and achieve their dreams. So I asked my mentor, what's the most important things the education system should do for immigrants? And he said, to listen to them and offer them guidance. I was like, what do you mean? He said, there are voices out there that are not heard. There are stories out there that are not heard. And they're just so powerful if you just listen to them. And throughout our conversation, he made me realize something. He made me realize that we immigrants all have the same stories, and we don't have much of a choice. You see, we didn't have a choice but to leave, to say goodbye to all we knew. We left behind familiar faces and places, even the comfort of our native language and land. We had no choice but to seek a better life as we traveled down a dark and scary path, haunted with fears and unknowns, filled with tears that held a scent of hope. We had no choice but to dream, to believe and trust that our sacrifices and struggles would not turn into dust. We had no choice but to be immigrants, to find a place in this world, a place to call home. This realization transported me into my memories when I was a kid. I remembered the 6-year-old me who just witnessed a war for the first time, the 12-year-old me who had a tough conversation with Jamal, and the 17-year-old me who was working as a janitor for $4 an hour, thinking there is no way out of the darkness. And it clicked. This is not my story. This is not about me. This is about millions of other immigrants who had to deal with wars and traumas and left their home country, came to America and felt hopeless and did not know what to do. So for the next 3 years, I became an advocate for immigrants and refugees, and I worked with the Houston School District, in which this past summer, I was able to have a contract with them to work on a website as a full guide for immigrants. Because I believe with a little bit of hope and help and support, every single other immigrant can solve their own Rubik's Cube. Another goal of mine was to create a platform for immigrants and refugees to have their voices heard. So with the help of the Houston School District, I was able to, and am still working on, making a platform and making that dream a reality where more than 200 schools within the Houston area have a platform for immigrants, allowing 80,000 multilingual students to have their accent heard and their story heard. You see, it's not just about Houston. Even in UVA, with the help of UVA Nursing School, during Global Week, we were able to create an Accent Day event in which UVA students were able to share their stories, accent, traditions, food, and who they are with the community. And my hope for this event is to grow and become on a university level. And by doing so, UVA, just like Houston School District, will open the door for other places, universities, schools, and even districts to follow us in this tradition. And you know, who knows? Maybe one day, an Accent Day will be a national tradition. You see, from the war-torn streets of the Gaza Strip to standing here in the rotunda of one of the most prestigious universities in America. It's crazy. It's been a long journey for me, and I've had a long life filled with struggles and accomplishments. But my greatest achievements is none of the stuff that I said. My greatest achievements is on those around me to see me for who I truly am and never judge me. I've proved to them that even though I have brown skin, Middle Eastern heritage, Islamic faith, broken English, that I'm also a human being deserving of respect and acceptance. My greatest achievement is to make people around me realize that minorities are just humans like them, with stories that are worthy of hearing. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in this world, but I know I cannot do it alone. And I know that my story is just one story, and there is millions of other immigrants out there who are fighting in silent battles, hoping to just get accepted or maybe get their way out of the darkness. So I ask you to join me and be a part of that change to make America feel home for everyone. Thank you, guys.